Hey guys, welcome back to Brinker Family Farm. It has been a hot minute since I've actually recorded and put a whole video together. I recorded stuff and then had some mishaps and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna start all over fresh, and so here we are. Um, it is the second day of spring and it's so very sunny out right now, which is great because it was so cloudy this morning. I've been doing inside stuff, trying to just tidy things up so that all of our hard work from the week, we were just really diving in and doing some deep cleans in a few areas of the house. And I'm like, I want to make sure everything stays clean and then get outside to do all the fun stuff. Today on my list this afternoon, because I have to run an errand real quick, is getting to my hoop house. It needs some major loving. Some of my containers that I had in there have kind of shown some wear, so I'm going to get rid of them and just clean up, refresh. And I've already found some kale growing in the garden. So it had reseeded and there's a bunch of little baby plants. And so last year I dug some up and I just plopped them into some of the holes I had in the hoop house. The hoop house, we have landscape fabric because just needed something easy so that the weeds wouldn't take over. And so we have landscape fabric with holes that we burned into the fabric. And so I put them in there and I was so excited when I walked through yesterday and I found some kale. So I'm gonna clean up around it a little bit better. I had a few different spots and I only see one that's actually growing and looking nice. So I'm gonna clean all that up and see if I can find anything else starting to grow. And if not, I'm gonna head back out to our old main garden because we had moved our garden last year to the other side of the deck, and see if I can find any more growing. So in one of my videos that unfortunately got messed up, I shared where Eliza and I had worked on starting seeds, and one of the ways we did it was winter sowing. So we made our greenhouses with little mouth jugs. So we just cut all the way around except for where the handle is, so you can still pop it open and close it. Filled it up with some dirt, and then this one's a good one to show you guys. This is delphinium, and the seeds came coated because there's sometimes they will coat seeds because they're so tiny. Sometimes seeds are so tiny that the companies will coat them. So I'm going to show you what these ones look like. But it's delphinium, and I'm starting to see where they're cracking open, so I'm really excited about that. But the whole purpose of doing your seeds in here is it's like a natural greenhouse. So in my jugs, I'm going to share what I have going in them, and since I have this one open, I'll just share what it looks like. Typically you don't want to open them up quite like this, but it's not hurting anything for them to be open today. Okay, so I have 7 Eliza helped me do. All of these are flowers. I definitely could have done herbs and some different things like that, lettuces, Swiss chard, all that. However, I have them in a different spot that I'm going to do stuff with them. So anyhow, this is delphinium, and you can see these little bits of purple, and that one right there is just starting, I noticed a few of them are just starting to crack and want to open up. So the idea is they're out here in the cold, but when you close them back up and have them taped up, which I have to get fresh tape for this one to hold it down, and then your lid's on, it's giving this greenhouse effect. So like this jug, I haven't had it opened. I just opened the lid to peek inside and I didn't see anything anyhow. But you're keeping this in here and it's keeping it warm, and all of this is like keeping it moist from drying out. So what you're gonna do is, if it's like a really hot day, because springtime you get all kinds of different temperatures, 70s, 80s, whatnot, you can open the lids up and then just let the heat not get accumulated in there. Another thing you can do is, if it's really really hot and you've already got plants starting in there, you can move them to a shadier spot and you can open them like I have, like just cracked open a little bit. You can even leave it like this on a day when it's really hot and then close it back up if like the evening's gonna be cold. The other thing to consider is if it's gonna be like frost super cold and you've got little baby plants in here, it might be wise to bring them inside, put them in your garage or in your house overnight, and then bring them back out. Because the whole point is to let the seeds have time to have their cold, but once they start germinating and they start to grow, you don't want them to get frosted or be out in danger of very cold, because this isn't that thick. It will penetrate and it will kill all your plants that you were just trying to winter sow. At this point in the season, anything that needed to be cold and have like a period of cold, that cold stratification, you're kind of getting to the end of that. However, you might not have enough time of cold is what I mean. with enough nights in that range. Like I was reading somewhere where it said that peach trees need at least 180, no, what was it, 850 hours of below freezing to have a good peach crop. And somebody was saying how they had like 900 or whatever, and so they are looking forward to a really good peach crop as long as the frost and things don't mess them up this spring. But they had that cold period, and so that's another thing to keep in mind. Like some things, when you have to have cold, they have to have a certain amount of time in that cold period. But the other thing that you could do with these is if you don't have a whole lot of room in your house, but you wanted to start lettuce, kale, like I said, bachelor buttons, those are all things that you could put out and just have sitting out on your deck or on your porch or up along your house somewhere that you don't forget about, to check on them, and they will start growing in these. And then all you'll have to do is transplant them where you want once they get, you know, a little bit of size to them and the weather is okay for that. Lettuces and kales, things like that, they can handle the cold, and even the bachelor buttons a little bit. I've had them early in the spring. Snapdragons, that's another good one. Those are all great things to go ahead and get started like this, and then you don't have to take up space in your house, like for tomatoes and peppers where I have only a limited space, and I want to make sure I have those things that have the proper lighting and the heat and protection, because those are very important for our garden. Or not that the lettuce and things like that are important as well. It's just it's easier. They're not as they're not something that takes quite as long to get going again if the weather was to harm them or something was to happen. Where tomatoes and peppers, especially peppers and eggplants for instance, take a long time to germinate and to get to a good size to produce the vegetables that we're looking for. Alright, so this is where we moved the garden last year, and I think we are going to extend it. We were just talking about that yesterday, but it's worked really well over here. It was lovely because when Bo was out baling hay or the kids were outside with me, the trees had a nice spot. We moved the swing set in between the trees, and then we were talking about moving our fire pit on this side of things instead of it being on the other. And we're just gonna make a nice little path, and I'm gonna add some more flowers along the front, and we're talking about different fencing ideas to make this side optimal. We really downsized each of our garden bed spaces, and I'm just trying to maximize the space that we do have. And yeah, so we're really excited for this year's growing season. We are going to do a few more beds in the back, and they won't have any of the landscape fabric because they're going to be like our pumpkin area. And I'm hoping to have some like watermelons, some viney things that will be easy once they start to grow to manage the weeds in those spaces without it being an issue. I'm probably even going to do a little bit of corn. We still have corn left over from last year, so I'm mostly looking for corn that we can just eat and enjoy throughout the summer, and if we have a little bit extra to process, that's a thing. But we're not super worried about that part of the corn production. It's just for fresh eating this year, which is nice because sometimes you need to focus on other things and to try to process all the things that throughout summer every single year gets a little bit hard. So this year I'm really working on tomato production. I really am hoping to get a lot more tomatoes than I did last year because I've actually had to buy tomato sauce, which is kind of a bummer. So I'm trying to make sure the tomatoes I'm growing have good fertilizer and different things in the ground when we get them planted to get optimal production from them. Alright guys, well that kind of wraps up today's video. I just want to kind of share, like, you know, even if you don't have a lot of space inside, you still have options to grow beautiful things outside with, I mean, lots of people drink milk. You know, those are just simple things that we can just save and reuse. I'm really looking forward to sharing more with you guys soon. I've got all kinds of things lined up that we're going to be doing, sharing what's going on in the farm with the cows, and then before we know it, we'll be having maybe chicks again, and the girls 4-H projects are already started, so we'll share about that too. And anyhow, so if you are new here, please subscribe. Please let me know what you'd like to learn. I also started a series that's called Honey, We're Homesteading, and I'm sharing that on the third Friday of every month. So I just shared that recently. I'll put a link for that so you guys can check that out, and all of our things. So join us as we are homesteading and sharing what we've learned over the years, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.